Utilize all your potentialities. Sri Sri Anandamurti. This universe of ours is a macropsychic connection. This entire cosmological order is a macropsychic connection. The people of the entire universe are the progeny, and the supreme consciousness is the progenitor. The microcosm cannot create anything original. The compounds The microcosm can create physical, mental, and spiritual compounds, but nothing original can be created by him or her. A microcosm should make maximum use of the world's physical potentialities, mental and intellectual potentialities, and spiritual potentialities. Suppose that a man has got a tractor. There is a big block of uncultivated land. The remaining two sentences of this illustration. Similarly, each and every living being, each and every microcosm has physical capacity, physical potentiality, mental and intellectual potentiality, and also spiritual potentiality. But in the realm of physicality, there are certain limitations. In physical structure, a human cannot be stronger than an elephant or stronger than a rhinoceros. But in the realm of intellectuality, there is no such limitation. A human can acquire as much intellectual strength as he or she desires. The scope for development of intellectual potentialities, although not infinite, is immeasurable. That is, a human can acquire immeasurable mental strength by dint of his or her intellectual culture. But in the realm of spirituality, there is no limit at all. The spiritual strength that a person can acquire is not only immeasurable, but also infinite. This special chance has been guaranteed only to human beings by the supreme progenitor. So each and every person, each and every individual should make maximum utilization of this world. That is, one must not waste a single second in developing his or her intellectual capacity, intellectual potentiality, and spiritual potentiality. 21st of April 1969, morning, Manila. Stages of Samadhi, Sri Sri Anandamurti. Virtue and vice are temporal entities. These things have nothing to do so far as a person's relationship with the Supreme Father is concerned. Suppose several boys are moving along a particular road, and one particular boy falls into the drain. His dress, his body becomes dirty. Other people passerby will laugh at him. But when the boy's father sees his boy in that condition, what is he to do? Will he laugh at his own son? No, no, no. What will he do? He himself will go there, into the drain, and take his boy in his own lap, and clean his dress, clean his clothes, clean his body, and after that he will say, "My boy, you should walk carefully." Sinning persons are just like those boys in the drain. Now high or low, upgraded or degraded, all are equal for him, because heaven is his creation, and hell is his creation. If we say that he is only in heaven, it will not be a correct utterance, because he is in hell also. His sons, his daughters are never alone. He is with you even in hell. What are you to do? You are always to remember that you are the child of a great Father. You must not think that you are a sinner. You are a degraded person. If you think that you are a sinner, it means you are meditating on sin. And when sin has become your object of meditation, actually you will become a sinner, because a person becomes just like his or her object of ideation, object of meditation. If you always meditate on sin, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, actually you will become a sinner. The psychological approach is you should forget it. Even if you actually are a sinner, you should think, I am the son of a great Father. I am the son of a great Father. I am the son of a great Father. And thus you are meditating on the great Father, and a day is sure to come when you will become one with your great Father. But to think, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, O Father, save me, O Father, save me, is a defective approach. You should say, I am your son, I am your daughter, O Father, take me on your lap. I am your son, I am your daughter. This will be the approach. You should forget what you do not want. Now, in the phase of creation, the first point of creation is called Shambhalinga. Linga means the point, the supreme point, the terminus of all expressions, all movements. And that terminus is a singular entity. In the phase of extrovert, it is the starting point, and in the phase of introvert, it is the culminating point. It is the supreme desideratum. At this starting point, wherefrom the first expression takes place, in the first phase of creation, what happens? In that triangle of forces, triangle of principles, sentient, mutative, and static, what happens due to their intertransmutation? All of a sudden, the triangle becomes unbalanced, and the released resultant force comes out from one of the vertices of the triangle. There are 3 vertices, and it comes out from one of the vertices. And the point from which this extraversal force comes out is called Shambhu. In the phase of extrovert, in the phase of creation, it is Shambhu, and in the phase of introvert, also it is Shambhu. In the phase of creation, it is the starting point. It is the fundamental positivity. It is the fundamental positivity because in it lies the seed of all creation, and in the phase of introvert, it is the supreme desideratum. Because here, in this point, all the aspirations, all the hopes, all the desires of all living beings terminate. Similarly, in the unit structure, each and every unit structure, there is a starting point, a microscopic expression of Shambhu in the entire cosmos, macrocosm. That is the entire cosmological order. There is a Shambhu point. The starting point, and similarly in the unit expression, in the microcosm there is Shambhu in miniature form, in microcosmic form, controlling the microcosm, and it is this point, crown of the head, the controlling point of the pineal gland. It is the site of Parama Purusha, Parama Shiva, and in the phase of creation, while Shambhu is the starting point, the last point of creation, the crudest point, is called Svayambhu. Shambhu and Svayambhu. In Sanskrit, Sham means to control, and Bhu means created. So Shambhu means the controller, self-created controller. And Svayambhu means, Svayam means self, so Svayambhu means self-created. But it is not the controller, because it is the crudest point. It is the last point, the crudest point. Now, wherever there is an expression or wherever there is no expression, the witnessing entity is there, just like the light of a stage, a theatrical stage. When there is an actor, the light is there, witnessing the activities of the actor. The actor says something, recites something, and the light of the stage witnesses the activities of that particular actor. And when a singer comes, that light witnesses the activities of the singer. A dancer comes, and that very light witnesses the activities of the dancer. And when nobody is present, no actor, no dancer, no singer, the light, that very light, witnesses that nobody is present here now. It expresses the fact before the audience, before the spectators, that there is nobody on the stage. Similarly, where there is expression, that cosmic light, that cosmic Father is there. And where there is no expression, the Father is there to say that nobody is present now, just like that light of the theatrical stage. Now, in the case of Shambhalinga, the fundamental positivity from where the creation starts, the supreme entity is there. And where the creation terminates, the last point, the crudest point, the Svayambhulinga, the witnessing entity is there also. The Supreme Father is there also. Now in the Shambhalinga, the human entity, the entity of a living being is in the subtlest form, is in purest form, is in unadulterated form. And in Svayambhulinga, in the lowest point, in the lowest bone of your body, the created being, the living being, is in the crudest form. Because of that crudest expression, the living being will also be in crudest form. That is, all one's divinity in its entirety is sleeping there, is in latent form there, in the last bone of the body. That sleeping divinity actually is divinity, but it is sleeping. It is called Kula Kundalini in Sanskrit, coiled serpentine in English. Coiled serpentine is just like a serpentine loop. Now, by dint of sadhana, what is sadhana? Whenever a sadhaka gets his or her own peculiar incantation from his acharya, his or her own mantra to be practiced, that sleeping divinity, Kula Kundalini, is aroused by the vibration of that mantra. And by dint of the person's constant practice, regular practice, what happens? It moves that serpentine loop upward. Its original residence is in the Muladhara chakra, the lowermost chakra. Now when the sadhaka, by dint of his or her sadhana, intuitional practice, exalts that Kula Kundalini, and when the Kula Kundalini crosses the Svadhisthana chakra, the next highest chakra, the sadhaka's feeling, his or her expression, his or her status, is known as Salokya. It is the first stage of Samadhi. A sadhaka, by constant practice, is sure to attain that status. But you know, the yogis say that a sadhaka cannot attain that status without the special favor of the spiritual guru. This is what they say. That stage is called Salokya. Salokya means that the sadhaka feels that in the stratum or sphere where he or she is, where that person's exalted mind is, he or she is not alone. The Supreme Father is also there. This samadhi, where the feeling is that in the stratum or stratus where the person is, that person's Supreme Father is also there, gives the person very much pleasure. This first pleasure is called Salokya Samadhi. Then when this coiled serpentine, sleeping divinity, crosses the Manipura chakra, just near the hub, near the controlling point of the pancreas, the person enjoys another sort of pleasure. And that pleasure is called Samipya Samadhi. Samipya is a Sanskrit word. It means proximity. That is, the sadhaka feels his or her proximity to the Supreme Father. In the first stage, the sadhaka felt that the Supreme Father was there in the same status. He is not in the sky, he is everywhere. He is with you. If you are here and he is in the sky, then you are alone here, and he is also alone there. No, 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 no. In the first phase, the feeling was that where I am, he is also with me, and in the second phase, I have come very close, very near that Supreme Father. I am in close proximity to the Supreme Progenitor. By dint of my sadhana, the gap between my Father and myself is being bridged. It is the second phase, known as Samipya. Samipya means proximity. Then, when that sleeping divinity, that Kula Kundalini, crosses the Anahata chakra, this plexus, this solar plexus in Latin, the sadhaka's feeling are known as Sajuja. Sajuja means in close contact. In Sanskrit, Sajuja means close contact, just side by side, just touching. In Salokya, he is with you. In Samipya, you feel the proximity, the nearness. And here in Sajuja, what do you feel? A tactile experience. You get a tactile experience. Then, by dint of your sadhana, the divinity, the sleeping divinity, the Kula Kundalini, crosses the point, the throat. One will experience another sort of sadhana, a subtler sadhana, subtler samadhi, and that one is called Sarupya. In Sarupya, the feeling is, I am one with him, I am one with him. Not close contact, but oneness. I am one with the Supreme Progenitor. I am one with the Supreme Cognition. This is Sarupya. Then, by still more sadhana, when the sleeping divinity crosses this point between the eyebrows, the controlling point of the pituitary gland, the Agya chakra, the sadhaka's feelings or expressions, another sort of sadhana, still more high, are known as Sarishti in Sanskrit. And that point, the feeling is that I am he. That is, I and he, these two entities have become one. I am, but he and I have coincided. I, he, there is one gap. I am the Supreme Entity. I am the Supreme Entity. There is still the connecting link, am. But when I and Supreme Entity coincide, the gap am disappears. I, Supreme Entity, and the connecting link am. When this will coincide with this, the connecting am will disappear because there is no gap. I becomes one with he. Clear. Or he becomes one with I. This stage is called Srishti. And the last stage is when the Kula Kundalini comes here, crown of the head. I said that in a unit structure, Shambhalinga Paramapurusha is here, at the controlling point of the pineal gland. The divinity, the sleeping divinity, is to be exalted to that point, to the controlling point of the pineal gland, and there is the final stage of samadhi. That final stage of samadhi is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi in yoga, and Kaivalya in tantra. In Sanskrit, Kaivalya means only, Kevala means only, and the noon of Kevala is Kaivalya. That is, only one entity exists. That entity may be I, that entity may be he, but the differentiation between I and he disappears. So I exist and he exists, these two ideas disappear. Exists, that is, it is the stage of non-attributional consciousness. It is the supreme stage of yogic sadhana. It is the supreme stance for a yogi. Now by dint of sadhana, one is to arouse and exalt that sleeping divinity, that Svayambhalinga becomes one with Shambhalinga, but for this one requires divine help, and I know one is sure to get divine help. I know further that one is getting divine help, and I know still further that in future, for infinite time and infinite space, one will be getting this divine favor. And you are all sadhakas, you will certainly attain that supreme stance and enjoy that divine blessedness. You are sure to enjoy it, my sons and my daughters. 22nd of April 1969, Manila.